Whether you're a new game master or you've been running games for several years, there is a demand on your creativity constantly while playing tabletop role-playing games, so let's talk about ways to fuel that creativity engine. Hey fellow game masters, welcome back. I'm Richard Quiner, and today we're talking about creativity, or creativity in your role-playing games. Creativity is an interesting topic to talk about because it's hard to define, for me at least. I look at it and I say, I want to create something that is being creative, making something new that hasn't been made before necessarily, or altering something that has been made and taking it and making it something unique and special. Creativity runs a full spectrum of things and ways people share their creativity, from movies and television and video games and board games and tabletop role-playing games and books and comics and articles and blogs. There's a ton of different things and a ton of different ways to be creative. So as a game master, we have a special, unique, I'm calling it unique. I'm going to call it unique. A unique challenge where we need to be creative all the time while we're playing the games for about 3 hours on end, depending on how we're playing and what we decided with our players, of course. But you have to have creativity running through you constantly to make these games as interesting as you can. And when I say this, I don't mean you have to pull everything out of nowhere. You don't have to make up everything you've got, but you need to have some source to draw from to create new items. I like the method of take something over here, remix it, and put it over here, and that's creativity for me in my tabletop role-playing games. And I think a lot of people do the same things. We absorb information and story and structure and all this stuff, and then we spit it back out as a remix. So I want to talk about where I get my creative juices flowing, or where I refill my creative fuel tank, and hopefully maybe that'll give you some ideas for yourself. The first one for me, the biggest one, well, not the biggest, it's just the easiest, most easily accessible for me, is movies. I work in LA, I work at a film distribution company, we do a lot of movies, I see a lot of movies and TV shows, and I like to watch them and I pick them apart. I don't watch them and just be like, oh, that's the movie, but I look at them and like, that's a cool story moment, or that's something I can use, and I absorb this information. And that all started with Lord of the Rings. Like the first time I watched the Fellowship of the Rings in a movie theater, just blew my mind. It was an amazing story, I loved it, and that fueled the rest of my life until this point, as in terms of a creative, trying to be a creative type or a creative entrepreneur, or whatever you want to call it, was fueled from that moment of Lord of the Rings and seeing this story and how things come together. It's amazing. That was amazing, and that's kind of fueled me. So, watching movies, for me, is one way that I fill my creative fuel tank. I like the popcorn movies. I'm going to say it. I'm not ashamed to like the movies that are not going to win Oscars. I like the movies that are a little stupid, they're a lot of fun. They don't have to be a perfectly crafted story all the time, but maybe some action and adventure in there I like some comedies, stuff like that. I like being entertained, and I like to watch those and pull them apart and take pieces to use in my own stories, like things like Pacific Rim. It's not a great movie, it's a fun movie, but it's not a great movie. But there you have the idea of some aliens invading the planet that are overpowered and way too strong for anyone to beat. How can I work that into an RPG? I can figure out a way. That's kind of how I look at movies in that regard, as, it's just fuel for the fire, so to speak. I get them because I have Netflix and a Hulu or access to those and Amazon, so I get access to a lot of movies, so it's not hard for me to watch things. But I understand some people might not get those, in which case the option, there's Redbox is an option. There are other options to get movies. The next up, where I draw a lot of inspiration, are video games. Now, video games, to me, are a great value, because I go to a movie, if I go to a theater, I'm paying $20 for about 2 hours of entertainment. That's $10 an hour. I buy a video game, I play on PC, so I only ever buy things on sale, on Steam. So I've maybe paid $20 for a game, and then I get 10 hours of gameplay. And I play games not hardcore mode. Like some people say, oh, if you don't play it on the hard mode, then you suck. I play games on story mode. I take my time. I like to understand the story that I'm, living through here. If I really want a challenge, I'll kick it up to normal or hard, but never at extremely difficult settings. I know a lot of gamers do have that mindset of they want to learn the mechanics, they want to take the challenge that is the game and wrestle it down and slap it a bit and make that game theirs mechanically and becoming a good player in that sense. But I look at it differently. I look for the story. And that's what I would like to challenge you to try to do. Next time you play a video game, just watch the story that's unfolding in the game. And if you don't have access to video games, and I know a lot of it's a hard, it's a high level of entry for video games. You at least need a console or a cell phone or something. You need some way to play them. But the other option, and now thanks to YouTube, this is super popular, you can go watch the playthroughs online. There are channels out there where they just play the game and the people don't talk, and you can just get the story. You can understand what's happening, and those are useful if you want to absorb some gameplay without actually playing the game or having to pay for it. That's an option. Of games, I would suggest you should go check out The Last of Us as a gameplay with a great story or arc through it, or Kingdom Hearts, the Final Fantasy series. There's so many games. Games is an amazing industry with an amazing group of storytellers out there, providing content for us to absorb. That's the thing I say. I absorb it. I take these story elements, I work them into my own story. Last of Us. Okay, Last of Us, you have a area that has been, you have the whole world that's been infected by this fungus that is not killing people, transforming people, and those transformed people are killing people. How do you work that into an RPG? You make an area where everyone's been zombified, they have some sort of magic might be controlling them. You can use that idea to build onto your story. That's the creative fuel I'm talking about that I get from video games and movies. Last on my list of great sources of creative influence and creative inspiration are books. Books, to me, are kind of the key. Because what I like to do is play tabletop role-playing games, which means I need to use my words, and I know this channel doesn't really show me good with words all the time, but I have to be good with words. I have to get better with words. And authors are some of the best. They have some great descriptions of areas and places, and you can take all that and you can spew it back out at the players and be descriptive that way. And it's a great source of that creative inspiration and learning new things and learning, descriptiveness and using your adjectives and adverbs and such and so forth. A lot of times, and now you see that with movies, like the quality is going down, but books, more often than not, the authors put a lot of effort into the books because it's their baby. They're telling their story. They pour more effort into it. And so you get some really great stories out of these books. Now, here's the catch. Here's the twist with books. I'm 33. I work full-time. I do this YouTube channel. I'm trying to build something here, and I don't have time to read except for when I'm going to work and home or when I'm on the computer doing something that I don't have to listen to. So that is where audiobooks come in. I like Audible. You can get a lot of cool books on there, but it's expensive. It adds up in cost over time. So here's the trick. Here's the neat thing that I discovered here. If you go to your public library, and this might work wherever you are as well. In LA, I know for sure that it works. Go to your public library, you get a library card, and you ask them about their audiobook offerings. Because now, it is 2018, most libraries have access to an audiobook library as well, or ebooks. So rather than having to go to the library and get a book and then sit down and read it, you can go to the library, get your library card, then check out audiobooks on your phone or on the computer and listen to them for free. Libraries are fantastic. I really hope they, make more of a comeback. But that idea that they were like, let's get some audiobooks out here, ebooks, make it accessible for people, is great, and I love it. And I do enjoy. I actually have to go renew my library card because I decided I'm probably going to cancel Audible in the next couple of weeks. I need to go get my library card and start getting some audiobooks. So consider that as a source for creative inspiration. Is you get your audiobooks, you listen to them when you're going to work or when you're going to school or when you're on the bus or when you're walking down the road. Anytime you want, you can listen to audiobooks, and I say that counts as reading. I say it counts. Those are my 3 sources of creative inspiration and creative fuel, which I borrow from everything. I'm the type of guy that says, I can create something fresh from scratch, but it's a lot of effort, and for a tabletop role-playing session, it's better for me to remix things that I've seen before and reuse them with my players and make it something unique, because the people experiencing it at the table are different than the folks experiencing it in the story as originally told. So it does make it a unique thing. if someone says, "Oh, did you steal that from something?" I'll say, "Yeah, I totally got it." Like, if I'm doing a story and they have to go destroy an asteroid, and they're like, "Oh, we're playing Armageddon," I'm like, "Yeah, you're in Armageddon. Now start singing some Rocket Man or something." Whatever the song that Ben Affleck sang, I don't know. Anyways, I hope this has helped you find your creative influence. Figure out ways to give yourself more, fuel for your RPG fire. That's all this is about, is just giving you ideas of where you can tap into another creative source of creative energy. I've been Richard Quiner. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.